Hi fans, and welcome to this Week 10 edition of the Woodland Hills Football Network pregame show. Last Friday night, the Wolverines lost to West Allegheny 52-13 in the worst loss in program history. This upcoming Friday night, the Wolverines look to clinch second place in the Allegheny 9 Conference with a victory over Upper St. Clair at the Wolverina. We're going to sit down with Woodland Hills head coach George Novak to review last week's loss against West A, look forward to this week's game against the Panthers, and we'll also let you see highlights of last week's game. All of that and more on the pregame show here on the Woodland Hills Football Network. Pistol formation as Jones gets the start, and he will hand off. Running to the left is Holt. He's got a gaping hole to the 50, to the 40, to the 30, 20, 15, 10, 5, end zone, touchdown, and the Wolverines start the game the best way they possibly could. Sidecar to the right-hand side of White. White straight up the gut, and he will go inside of the 30, the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5, and into the end zone. And can you believe it? 2 plays from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns. Jones, he's going to run the end around to Derek Caraway running to that far boundary. He's got the first down. He's out across the midfield stripe. Jones off of play action, looking right the whole way, throwing down that right-hand side. The receiver has a step, diving catch down at the 8-yard line. It'll be first and goal for the Wolverines. Diving reception by Rodney Denard. Handoff, Holt, he's met in the backfield and brought down. A loss of about 5, turnover on downs. Mike Whitehurst is going to punt this one away, and his punt is partially blocked going to the far sideline, and will be covered up. And that kick by Opsatnik, boy, that had been good from 55 yards. Where the Wolverines will bring the return from around the 25-yard line, down that far sideline, a crease for that Woodland Hills return man, and out towards the midfield stripe. Jones looking straight down the middle, and he will find a leaping Avram Abramovitz for a Woodland Hills first down at the 22-yard line. He outleaped 2 white jerseys for that Woodland Hills first down. Handoff, Holt running right, cutting it back to the left. He's inside of the 15, downfield blocker to the 10, inside of the 5. He'll cross the goal line for a Woodland Hills touchdown. 3rd and long. Setting up the screen, the pass complete. Lipford sliding past one tackler, trying to avoid a second. Now spinning his way forward, and he is off to the races. Oh my goodness, Lipford is going to go to the house. He broke a half a dozen tackles on his way to the end zone, and West Allegheny has reclaimed the lead. 3rd down and 5 for the Wolverines as Jones pressured, setting up the waggle. He'll be brought down way back near the 20-yard line. Good snap by McAllister as Whitehurst's punt is blocked, and the Indians will scoop it up and take it into the end zone for a touchdown. Ross straight drop back, looking across the middle, finds Lipford. Lipford running to this near side left. He's inside of the 20, inside of the 10, cutting it back, and he will be brought down as he crosses the goal line for a West Allegheny touchdown. Kenny White, the QB in the Wildcat, running to the left. He's into Woodland Hills territory. He's off to the races. He is going to score. Spiraling punt out towards the 46-yard line, which will be returned by Brandon Lipford. Lipford to the near sideline. He will bring it inside of the 35. Lipford throws to the right-hand side, completes the pass to Weber, and Weber is brought down inside of the 15. And White will take the snap and take it into the end zone for a touchdown for West A of 1 yard. Handoff will go to Tyler Gallant, and Gallant inside of the 10, inside of the 5, and he will be forced out of bounds. He'll hand off to Gallant, who will take it into the end zone for a West Allegheny touchdown.
We are the Woodland Hills Wolverines. Since 1987, we've been a part of some of the most electrifying football games in Western Pennsylvania, and we've established a national reputation of excellence. Whether you're a former player, a Woody High alum, a parent, or a fan, you're part of our Wolverine family. And now you can join us by becoming a part of our new booster club, the Wolverine Nation. Visit WHFBA.org and see how your donation can help our student athletes while earning you unique benefits. We're more than just a booster club. We are the Wolverine Nation.
Hi again, fans, and welcome to this Week 10 edition of the Woodland Hills Football Network pregame show. Adam Gusky here, sitting down with Woodland Hills head coach George Novak. And Coach Novak, before we talk about this week's game against Upper St. Clair, let's take a look back to last week's game against West Allegheny. It was tooth and nail through the first quarter and a half, but West Allegheny was able to pull away about halfway through the second quarter and never look back.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great football game for a quarter and a half. You know, you look back through the game, you can go back and second guess this or that, but both teams scored right off the bat. We scored on the first play, they scored on the first play, and we were able to drive the ball down. And Rodney Denard made a great catch. Danny threw a nice ball to him. He made a great catch inside the 10, and looked like we were going in for a score. We got to the 2, and we had a couple mishaps on blocking schemes. We missed a couple guys, and we decided to go for the field goal on fourth down, and they jumped off sides. We're able to block the kick, but ran into our kicker who was injured and taken off the field. So we got half the distance, so it was still 2.5 yards, and we had to go for it because we didn't have another kicker for the field goal. And you know, again, we didn't score. And that was probably a big turning point of the game, because at that point it would have put us up 14-7, and who knows what would have happened after that. So it was a big point there. But, you know, the kids came back. We stopped them. Defense played well. They kicked the field goal. Their field goal kicker and place kicker is phenomenal. It's his third year starting. He's one of the best in the state. And for 3 years now, he's been kicking fantastic. And, you know, he did a nice job, kicked the long field goal for him. And we were able to score again in the second quarter to make it 13-10 us. So we're still going good. I think after that, a couple things happened. You know, we had 2 block punts and 2 big pass plays where we missed some tackles. And by that time, it's 31-13 at the half, and kids are, you know, we fought and scratched the second half, but, you know, couldn't get anything going.
Coach, you mentioned Chucky Hanchett getting hurt. We saw him return to kick off in the second half. How's he doing? He's
doing good. He was kicking here today, and, you know, he's a tough kid. He did take a punt, and because they hit him the first time we kicked the extra point, and the officials didn't call it, but this time they really hit him, and, you know, he went out, and I think his mom talked him into coming back out. She's pretty tough. So he did come out if we needed him, and, you know, it shows a lot of spunk, a lot of character in the boy.
You also talked about Daniel Jones, who had a big pass to not only Rodney Denard, but he threw the ball around the field pretty liberally. Talk about his first start.
Danny did a lot of good things. You know, he went the whole game. He was going half the game, sharing it with Mike. But, you know, at the last game, he earned a start, and, you know, he was doing well during the game. He threw the ball well. Hit Auburn a couple times, hit Caraway, hit Dede. We got some good receivers. We got to continue to build on that passing game.
Coach, let's talk about the defense. And I think the one thing that kind of surprised me was the emergence of Sidney Summers. He played against Moon, got the start against West Allegheny. He's really starting to shine.
Yeah, Sidney's a sophomore. You know, he's aggressive. He's fast, has good speed to the ball, and, you know, he's in the mix now. And a couple guys were ill last week, so he had to step in for him, and, you know, they got to battle their way back into their positions. But, you know, Sidney's a good player. He's going to be a great player for us at linebacker, and, you know, the other linebackers are going to get better and do well. We had a lot of mental mistakes this game, which surprised. You get some during the game, but we had numerous offensively and defensively and special teams. And, you know, I give West Allegheny credit. They had a very good football team, well coached, and, you know, they had a lot more guys back from last year's team than we did, but that's no excuse. You know, we put it on the line, and they beat us. We got to live with that and go on for the next game.
Coach, let's talk about the tackling in the secondary. That obviously was an issue on their 2 long touchdown passes.
They had 2 big pass plays where we had opportunities to tackle their receivers. The one, we had about counted 7 guys had a shot to tackle the guy. Give him a lot of credit because he's very evasive when he had the ball in his hand. He made some nice moves, and, you know, our kids were overrunning too aggressive at times. You know, they made the big plays.
Before we talk about Upper St. Clair specifically, let's talk about being able to bounce back from a big loss, what you and I both probably remember as the biggest loss in program history.
Yeah, it's always tough to come off a loss, and the only thing that cures it is a win. And I think it's important to show that the kids show the character that they have this week of practice and work hard towards playing Upper St. Clair and turning things around here, going into the playoffs.
Coach, let's talk about the Panthers now specifically, and obviously it is a huge game with playoff implications. You win second place in the conference, you get a home game in the first round.
It's a big plus to have a home game in the first round, but looking at the playoffs, Adam, there's no, West Allegheny's probably the clear runner out front, but any of the teams in our conference could beat you on any given day. North Hill's got a good team, St. Clair, Woodland Hills, West A. In the other conference, you got Armstrong and McKeesport and Franklin and Gateway. They're four solid teams. I wouldn't bet any money on any of it. I think everybody got a good team going into this. So that the 8 teams, I think, that'll make the playoffs. And Penn Trafford had a great team in the other conference, and they probably are going to come up short the way I look at it.
Well, Coach, let's talk about the game now. Upper St. Clair, a very tough team, and Visman has returned to the lineup.
Yeah, their best player hasn't been around for a while, and he got injured the first game. He came back last week and did very well. He plays linebacker and running back, and he's a big-time player. Last year, he was the leading rusher in Quad A football, all the teams, and he's a workhorse, great kid, hard worker. I think he's an Ivy League type of kid. He's a big boost to their team. They handily won their last game, and I'm sure he was a big reason for it. But yeah, he's something we got to really key on him because he's a great player. But they got a lot of other great players. I mean, they have a good team. This is a team they've been playing for a couple of years and building towards this year. Their big lineman, he's 6'7", 280. He's going to, he committed to the University of Pittsburgh. He's a big boy. He'll be a head taller than anybody on the field. He's a good player. They got a lot of good players. Jimmy Render does a great job with his team. It's probably he is the winningest coach in the WPIL right now. And I don't see anybody getting maybe close to him because he just does a phenomenal job. So it's going to be a tough game, tough opponent for us.
Coach, we've seen some great games between Woodland Hills and Upper St. Clair over the years, whether it was in the playoffs years back or conference games in the more recent history. Certainly there's a lot of history between the Wolverines and the Panthers.
You know what? It's 30 years of history, and Coach Render and I have gone against each other a number of times, and it's probably pretty even. I don't know the records, but it's probably pretty even wins and losses. It's just been some great battles. Since year one in 1987, we played them twice. They won the first time, we won the second time. But after that, it's been back and forth, and they got a great program. They got great kids. They got their quarterback back, their running back, several of their linemen, several of the defensive players. So it's going to be a big challenge for us. But I think our kids learned something in that loss, and we learned something as coaches, what we got to do to improve and to get better.
Well, Coach, what's it going to take to clinch that second place in the conference?
I think we got to play very good defense. We can't make any mental mistakes. I think too many mental mistakes last week. We got to score when we get opportunities. We got to win the special teams. I think we learned a lesson this week from special teams. We had a couple guys that missed assignments, and they blocked 2 of them. We set up 2 scores for them. We got to tackle in the secondary. That's going to be a biggie. So we got a lot to work on this week.
Well, Coach, last week we didn't really talk about any alumni playing in college or in the NFL, but this week we're going to go back to that, and we'll start off in the college ranks. And we're going to talk about Mike Caprara, and not so much his exploits on the field because we talked about that already, but let's talk about what he's done and what he's doing with his missions and his trips to Haiti and such. It was a big article in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette on Monday about what a young man Mike Caprara is, what an outstanding young man he is.
he's one of the guys I'm most proud of that ever played at Woodland Hills because, you know, number one, he's a great football player. He came through. He was our all-time leading tackler, helped us win a WPL title. And a great kid in school. He was a leader in school, a positive leader in school. And then he goes down to Pitt and he gets involved in some different organizations and that. And he's been going down to Haiti and helping kids. And he really enjoys doing that. And that's kind of a direction he wants to go with his life. And, you know, I'm just very proud of him that, you know, he wants to give back to the world. And he's a very intelligent kid. He could be a doctor, a lawyer, you know. But he just, you know, that's kind of the direction he wants to go in. I'm real proud of him and everything he's done down there, not just football, but academically and out in the communities.
Well, Mike was a 4-year starter at Woodland Hills, played 5 years of college football. Let's talk about somebody that played at Woodland Hills that kind of took a different path, and that's Rob Gronkowski, who was only here for a season and then only played a couple of years at Arizona, and he is having a fantastic career for the New England Patriots, including a great game against the Steelers. Yeah,
he's always plays great against the Steelers, and he's just a great kid. You know, he has a great family. They're a fun-loving family. He's a hard worker in football. He takes it very seriously. And, off the field, he jokes around, but he's a nice kid. Not, you know, doesn't do anything bad or anything. Just he likes to have fun and he enjoys life. I think his dad's that way and his whole family's that way. And he's a great player, you know. Somebody told me he might be the best tight end ever to play in the National Football League. What a statement that is.
It's a very, very good possibility that will end up being the case at some point. Well, Coach Novak, thanks a lot for your time. Good luck this week against the Panthers. We'll talk to you again next week as we head into the playoffs.
Thanks, Adam. Just want to say hello to Aiden, Ava, and Max. Hope you're having a good week at school.
We'll be back with more of the pregame show right after this here on the Woodland Hills Football Network.
What's for dinner on Thursday night? Chicken wings. Come on down to Turtle Creek for Thursday night wings at the Wolverina. Fresh, whole wings, hand-breaded and hand-tossed with 4 different flavors. And the best part is that all proceeds benefit the Woodland Hills football program. Thursday night wings at the Wolverina every Thursday evening during the season. Let's take a look at the Wolverines' results and remaining schedule. The WPIAL 5A Allegheny 9 Conference standings. And now the MSA Sports WPIAL 5A Top 10 Rankings.
Again, fans, we thank you for joining us for this Week 10 edition of the Woodland Hills Football Network pregame show. If you can't make it to the Wolverina on Friday night for the game against Upper St. Clair, you can listen live on msasports.net. You can watch our live stream on the Woodland Hills Football Network Facebook page. Select broadcasts throughout the season will also be streamed live on our YouTube channel. And as always, you can tune in to the replays on Monroeville Comcast Channel 13, Penn Hills Comcast Channel 98, Verizon Fios Channel 37, and all of our broadcasts are available in HD on our YouTube channel. For everybody at the Woodland Hills Football Network, I'm Adam Gusky, and we'll talk to you again next week as the Wolverines shift into the WPIAL playoffs.
This has been a presentation of the Woodland Hills Football Network. Watch us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and as always, visit us at woodlandhillsfootballnetwork.com.